Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. As you all know by now, I'm a videographer and a content creator first. I'm not this fancy filmmaker, even though I would love to be. And I'm also not too well versed in the broadcasting space, but when it comes to broadcasting and PTZ cameras and all of the different terms that they have there, I'm not really well versed in it. I haven't had the time nor actually the full interest to kind of get into the broadcasting space. And when it's come to PTZ cameras, I've been like, I don't really see the use for me, but I might have to go back on that word because OBSBOT reached out to me and asked if I wanted to test a new camera, the Tail 2, which is a PTZ camera. And I said, yeah, why not? Let's do it. And I mean, this little camera is mind-blowing. Let's get into it. OBSBOT reached out to me and asked if I wanted to do a video on the Tail 2. And at first I was a little bit hesitant because it's a PTZ camera. I don't know too much about them and I didn't really know if I had any great use for a PTZ camera in my workflow. And as a videographer, maybe not. But in terms of content creation and working with clients, it's actually really good. And we're gonna get into that a little bit later. But first we're gonna run through some of the specs, and if you know things about PTZ cameras, these specs might make more sense to you than they did to me at first, but at least let's start. And to run this camera you can use via an app in your phone, via software in the computer, or you can run it via NDI if you buy a separate license for it. It actually records 4K up to 60 frames per second, so it's a very potent camera with great lenses and great quality and sharpness. The ISO range is 100 to 6400, and as with every camera, I mean, the more light you have available, the better it's going to be. But I mean, you don't really need me to tell you that because if you watch this channel, you probably already know that. It's got an aperture of f1.8 to 3, but I mean, it's kind of a fixed aperture, so you can't really work with the field in these kind of cameras because that would be a little bit too much of a hassle, I suppose. But I mean, it works really well. It's easy to use with focusing and all of those things. The effective focal range of this camera, it's 22mm to 110mm. So you can get quite close, but you can also go super wide, which you're gonna see in a few of the samples that I'm gonna put up here from when I'm using it as a streaming camera or when I was using it as a hockey camera. It's got a mic in, line in, LAN, SDI, HDMI, USB, one USB-C for video and one for charging. It's got RS-232 in and out. So these are the ports that you have, and it also has a micro SD port, and you can put a 1TB micro SD card in and you can record a lot of video on that. I actually didn't fill it up. I wasn't even close because a long file for me in 4K was about 2.5 gigabytes or like 15 minutes. So it's very effective in compressing the video but still retaining the quality. It's got a 3-axis gimbal, Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth, so you can connect it to your phone like I said, or you can connect it via Wi-Fi. So it's easy and a lot of different capabilities when it comes to connecting to your workflow. It also has a built-in 5000 mAh LiPo battery, which means that you can run it for a couple of hours without needing to charge, which is good if you don't want too much cables, or if you just want to put it up somewhere where it's not accessible, or if you're going outside to shoot like a little hockey game or horses. You're gonna see some footage from a hockey game earlier, and there I couldn't use electronics into it. Of course, that was all with the phone and with the camera. And you got a nice little gesture control. I haven't used that too much, but you can, pinch to zoom. You can do like this to start recording, not this to stop recording and start recording. So there's a few different gestures that you need to learn. So that's kind of the specs that I think are really interesting with this camera. Well, so who is this camera for and what is this camera for? As I said before, PTZ cameras for me, I didn't really use them outside of a studio. So I was a bit, what can I use it for? But the more I started using it and the more I started to think about it, since it has a built-in battery, it has a mic in, I kind of found areas where I could use it really good, like brought it to a hockey game with my son. I had no electricity there, so it was on battery and I could control it with the app. I used it when streaming, which is also very nice. I built a rig and I was, driving my racing sim. That's also one nice area. You can also use it for presentations, you can use it for courses, all things that you need something to track here or something with just good quality and good audio. And the best thing with this, it's so easy to set up. You just have an app on your computer or an app on your phone, and it pretty much just installs itself when you start it. So it's very easy to get going with this camera, which I think is a really big plus. And I mean, I haven't used the NDI parts of it where, you know, connected to networks and stuff, but I'm pretty sure that is also kind of straightforward if you are into that kind of thing. I know Marco, my friend, he's really good with those kind of things and setting up, you know, multi-camera workflows and things like that. So, but I think that's also going to be one area where it's really nice. It's also very small, so it's easy to kind of lug around and use for shoots. It's not like this massive PTZ camera that you can have. And like I said, with presentations and courses, this one has something that is insanely good in terms of capability and functionality, and that's tracking. It's got AI tracking 2.0. They had an AI tracking earlier in their earlier version, but this, you can just kind of mark what you want to track and then it tracks it. The tracking works really well, both with objects, animals, persons, sports. What it didn't work fantastic for was to track junior hockey in a dark ice rink, but I mean, I can definitely live with that because you can also set, you know, A, B, C points, so you can just point on the screen where the camera should go. So it's really not an issue, but it really works well when tracking, especially if I'm walking around in here talking, or if I was building the rig. You know, it's really intuitive to work. It's really intuitive on using it and also how it works, and you can kind of combine that with the gestures I was talking about before. If you are doing something and you want people to see it, you can just do like this and it's going to zoom in to what you're doing. So it's a really cool function, and pair that with the possibility to do either an auto mode, which is something that most people probably use when they buy a camera like this if they don't have a studio. It's, you know, all the settings are auto, but you also have the possibility to go in and change ISO, white balance, shutter speed, compression. So it is a professional camera inside, and you have two capabilities on how you want to use it, which I think is really good. Kind of to revert back to what I was talking about before is who this camera is for and what it's for. Like, I didn't really know what to use it for before I got it, but the more I started using it, the more use cases I found for it. But if someone were to ask me, would you recommend this to me? I'm a videographer. Or would you recommend this to me? I'm a cinematographer. I would say probably not. As a content creator, where you do client work, if you do client work such as podcasts, presentations, you know, speeches, then this is a great camera because you can just, you know, be in one place and kind of run it. But if you need to do run and gun, you know, get up close to someone or be very dynamic, then this isn't the camera for you. But with that said, as a content creator, you can find great use for a camera like this. The pricing of the camera itself, it's $11.99 US without taxes, and that will give you the camera and all the connection cables. You can also add remote controls, more cameras, and also the NDI license, and that will, you know, affect the price accordingly. For what you get, I would say that it is a very versatile camera and it's easy to use. So $11.99 might sound steep, but also if you are in need of a good camera, I'd say that it's also a bargain if you look at what other PTZ cameras cost. So it's definitely a good price for a good camera. It's small, it's easy to use, it's easy to set up, and it gives you most of the functionalities that you would expect from a camera like this. Also, if you want to have the best looking webcam ever, I would definitely say this is one of the contenders, because this is super easy to connect as a webcam if that's something that you use on a daily basis. And as I said, it records 4K 60, which means that if you have a talking podcast where you just upload it in 1080, you can actually reframe it and have, you know, one full and then also push in on the subject. So it's versatile. I'd say that's my word of the day, versatile. And it's a really good camera for the price. But have in mind, this is a camera that's in one place. So if you need to do run and gun, this is not the camera for you. So with that said, if you're on the look for a tiny PTZ camera with a lot of functionality, I would definitely, you know, advise you to have a look at the OBSBOT Tail 2. It's an amazing camera. And with that said, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also leave a comment. Do you use PTZ cameras? And can you give me some more areas where I can use a camera like this? Because I'm curious in how I can, you know, grow with this kind of camera and not just this camera. So have a great one. I'll talk to you soon. Cheers. Bye.